So what you're about to watch is a conversation between myself and one of our clients in our high-ticket SMA coaching business, and I wanted to give you a complete live raw preview of what calls actually look like at the highest level of a $10,000 a month plus product, in addition to the rest of the things they receive, so that you can look at it and see how it's structured, how it's modeled, and how we take someone through a transformation of how we continue to provide them value week over week over week to establish a relationship. So this isn't a first call or an onboarding call. This is someone who's been working with us for months on end and is now being in a position where they just need to consistently take the right actions forward. And I'm going to show you how to do it in the best way possible. So I'm going to leave it completely unedited and you can just watch from here.
If I know how to what?
Not get blocked.
Yeah, it's about like people opting out, keeping that under 3%, and also having the like verification of the numbers so that there's less than 1% that's actually like not legit numbers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And is there any way to control that variable?
I guess there's like number checkers, verifiers, or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
here's what I'll say. It's like, I understand you're in the day to day of it, but from my perspective, it's like, okay, well, just wait a day, right? Because again, one of the things that, and I know you like Hormozy, so this will resonate with you, but it's just time horizon. Like if you look at this on even a month time horizon, having to wait one day doesn't matter, right? Having to wait 2 days doesn't matter. Even having to wait a week doesn't matter. In the span of 10 years, having to wait an entire month doesn't matter, right? So whenever you have a problem like that, it's always important to kind of like, first off, scale time and say, okay, do I care about this in the long run? The next thing is like, okay, well, beyond getting upset about it, the only prevention mechanism we can have is to stop from happening again.
Yeah.
So looking at that, first things first is to change the numbers, right? We have the numbers start being verified, and then I would just scale horizontally. So it's the way that we do kind of Facebook DMs, as in you can look at scaling as like vertical. So right now you have probably one go high level sub account, right?
Yeah, correct.
And or you're strictly leads in one place. The option that you always have is to, cut this size in half so only go this far, but then have like twice as many. Or cut it in four and go an eighth as many. And I'm not sure if this applies directly to the situation, but if there's a way to scale horizontally while staying under the limit and just creating operational complexity, that will probably be a good solution as well.
Okay.
So is there a software that we know gives us super high quality numbers that are going to be good 100% of the time?
Well, there probably is, and I don't think like my scrapers, like, cause I use like the instant data scraper, and I use
Yeah.
Gorilla, so we get like a ton of leads. I just think that we need some kind of like filtering software, right? Something that
Yeah.
like checks the numbers.
And what if there was a way, like is there anything stopping you from having multiple go high level accounts? So that if one account gets blocked, you can just switch over the lead list to the next one?
Probably not. I guess it's just the different pipelines, and I have to set up the automations again.
Well, you just save it as a snapshot.
Oh yeah.
You save it as a snapshot, create when you import the new snapshot, and
That
then
could be
just have
possible.
it called like oh fuck, we got banned one.
Okay.
And then just, because it's better to send outreach without a converted over pipeline. Because then you can always manually move it over as well, or like ask your lead scraper to do that, or the setter to do that, whatever it is. I mean, I'd honestly ask the setter to do it because I don't know if it's the case, but if they like, is the setter the reason why the account would get banned?
No, it's the VA who uploads the leads.
Okay,
Yep.
so then the VA should have to fix the pipeline manually every time that happens. But I would
Yeah.
also just have a go high level sub account that also acts as a prevention method. So
Okay.
even when it does go wrong, it's like, okay, we'll just switch over to the other account.
That's a good one. All right, I'll make that happen.
Yeah.
I was just curious because for me it costs like $40 a day to have this running at this
Yep.
kind of volume. And I'm not sure if like it's worth the effort to like have all of this operation wise in place. If we could just maybe go with that and have the call volume be a little bit lower.
Yes. So here's what I'll say. First things first is the issue with ads is the amount of unknowns, right? There might be calls from ads, but we don't know the quality of the calls. We know there's less calls. the CPM is always changing, et cetera, et cetera. We know that if we turn this on, it's going to book us calls.
Yeah.
And really what the game becomes is what, like the only thing stopping you from running both is just purely monetary.
Mm-hmm.
So then here's the way I look at this, right? The only stopping us from running both is purely monetary. And we're booking more than enough appointments with the Go High Level and SMS to close alone. So we should use the pure profit from the Go High Level SMS in order to fund the ads.
Okay.
Right? And it's the philosophy again of like bootstrapping everything. One of the last things you want to do with ads is take a risk where you're putting up your own money in order to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I've turned on ads for clients and even my own agencies, I would always do it with a quarter of the money that they've already profited as a result of the organic outreach or the lower cost outreach. Right? And I get this takes $40 a day to run. Is that because of the leads, I assume, mostly?
It's like the VA who needs to like use 2 hours to scrape. It's the software because like Go High Level invoices me $20 a day just to send out the texts and the follow-ups. And then there's like the setter cost, which is like who knows how much, like $6 per hour plus 25 per close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then here's what you can do, right? First things first is you always have the ability to drop down the amount the setters get paid. But here's the thing. It scales very linearly, right? So you're always going to have to spend like $10 for a call with that. But we know with ads, like regardless, when you run ads for longer time periods, the cost per call is going to
Yeah.
rise.
Okay.
So the way I look at this is like one has infinite potential and one should be used as a scaler. And to give you a personal experience as to why this is, a lot of I used to look up to a lot of people who ran like the crazy 200K a month agencies, da da da. There was one agency in particular. It was a 250K a month HVAC agency. And I thought the guy he ran it was like an absolute cheat. And then I found out that the guy profited $0 from it because everything that he made was re-put back into ad spend and he scaled the company off of like ad loan. And it was for that reason that I realized like when you play the ads game, to a certain extent, you're always positioning yourself for either short bursts of growth, right? Maybe like a month or you do really good, but then after that, it's not so good, or bad margins.
Yeah.
Right? And if your goal is like long-term financial freedom, and all this stuff, and you want to take this company and have this agency around for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever that might be, the better route is to build up an organic base and then use the ads as a way of adding fuel to the fire.
Got it.
And that's the mindset they want to follow. And then again, like when you do start making like 10, 15K a month, it will be at no cost for you to also run both systems. It's just right now while we're figuring out the sales that it's kind of a problem.
Okay.
It's a good segue into figuring out sales.
Yeah.
Because with 3 to 5 calls a day, theoretically, when we turn these ads back on, we are going to be putting ourselves in a position that becomes unreasonable not to close.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched some of the sales calls, and as I kind of wrote there, you sell in a similar style to me before I went into my sales room. So I was an appointment setter manager, and my appointment setters ended up booking so many appointments that I had to start taking the sales calls as well because we didn't have a closer. And it was a period of my life where I would do setter meetings from like, or I'd wake up and work 7 a.m. till 1 p.m. I would maybe eat food from like 1 to 1:15 at my desk. And I would start taking sales calls from like 1:30 until 10:30 at night because it was Pacific every single day for like 2 to 3 weeks. And it's probably one of the most shitty periods of my business life, but it taught me sales. And the reason, and based on watching some of your calls there, the biggest thing that I see lacking is mutual resonation. So what that looks like is when I spoke to a mortgage broker, for example, right? It's like you know their pain points already to a certain extent. Every person you speak with, you already roughly know how that conversation is going to go because you've had that conversation hundreds of times, and it's maybe their second, third, or even first time hopping on that call. So because of that, one of the big things that I noticed is you, and I did this as well, sometimes hopped into phases of assumption when you're selling. And that is one of the biggest no-nos for probing. What that looks like. I was watching your sales call, and if you are finishing someone's sentences, it means you're probably doing this, right? Oh yeah, I assume it's probably this. Oh, okay, well, how are you getting leads right now? Okay, well, I assume you're probably doing some door knock. When you start doing that, that is when you start hurting your probe
Mm-hmm.
because it now shows them that regardless of whatever their problem is, your solution was pre-made for them.
Got it. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things in sales is like they always have to feel as though this product is right for them at this time and that there's a unique alignment of the stars in order for them to buy. And if you are, oh yeah, so a lot of people I speak with, this, and it's common problems or even their real problem, it acts counterintuitive because everyone believes that their own problems are unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this bias that we all have as humans. So as soon as someone takes our problem for granted, even if they're fucking right, we still knock it. So that was one of the things that I noticed in that sales call. That being said, it did still go through to split penny, right? So you can't hate on a job well done. What do you think of that?
That you're probably right, man. Like
Yeah,
I have that tendency to finish off their sentences, especially because I know they're
yeah,
probably doing one or two, like door knocking or cold calling. They're doing one of those, and I just know
yep,
it, right? And our solution solves both, but
yep,
making it seem like it's like actually solving their specific one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
yeah. And one of the best things that I just noticed selling is on sales calls, I would always full screen my Zoom and click F11. And then there's doing this thing called like sales call posture. Like I like lean back like this when I'm taking sales calls. Like this, right? Because one of the strongest things on the sales call is you want to seem disconnected. And if you can emulate the, I guess, body language of being disconnected, it'll help you out a bunch, right? Of just being there to genuinely listen to them, like almost like a therapist, is one of the big changes that I noticed. Because as I'm kind of watching through those calls, even though you might be sitting super normally, what it almost seems like in combination with you kind of like finishing off their sentences or knowing where they're going to go and kind of dictating that for them, it almost seems as though you're trying to get them to say something, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Damn.
And when someone even believes that to the smallest extent, it creates sales resistance, which stops them
Yeah.
from sharing. So one of the best things that you can do, and taking a look at your sales script, there's a different way that I want you to use it. Because I saw there's questions there, and you, I guess, did something with the sales script that I did till I made this one change. And that one change is each of those questions should last around 5 minutes, right? And what I mean by that is when you ask them, like, oh, what have you tried in the past? Oh, well, I tried door knocking. Okay, well, how'd it go? Did you like it? Okay, well, why'd you stop? You seen anyone else see success with it? Oh, okay. And continuing to allow them to go on that line is one of the most important things you can do. Because I noticed it's like we're hitting them with too many different questions, right? Almost to the point where they don't remember what their problems are because there's so many things that they've given us.
Hmm.
And I promise you, you just did it to me actually. This is one example. When you don't talk, someone will keep talking. So if you ask
Yeah.
them a question, hey, like, well, I guess, why don't you think it worked? They'll talk for 2 minutes. They might pause. Then you go, okay. They'll start talking in that dead space
Yeah.
again, right?
Yeah. Of
Every single time they'll pick it back up.
course.
And being patient in the probing, right? Because your pitch is good. Like, I'll be honest, your pitch will close people. Your offer will close people. The issue, again, is you're a highly systematic person, which makes your pitch and offer extremely good, but it also makes your probing really bad because you're trying to systemize a human conversation in the probing. because you've had the conversation so many times. So as takeaways, and I can start kind of writing a lot of this stuff down, I'm going to first give you temp solutions, but then give you the actual solution to all the other micro problems. First thing is, don't take protein for granted. Gluten, fat, have live foster. Let them talk with pauses. Take much of the probing with the way less questions. And I believe that would honestly start getting you close as well.
Okay.
Because when you do that, your sales process becomes more defined and simple. Right now on your call, so you see like the Fathom note taker? I would, I guess, have you ever used it before, like Fathom, and see how it works?
No.
Okay, so basically at the end of every meeting, it sends me a key point analysis. And if you're on a sales call and there's more than maybe like 5 key points, you probably did something wrong. Because in order to sell someone, you have to find one problem, give them one solution, you put it together with money. That's it. So you only need to actually get one problem out of them. You might ask a few questions to find it, but when you simplify your sales process down to asking less questions, allowing them to talk more about it, and then centering your pitch around solving the one problem that they just spoke about for 30 minutes, it's a lot easier to handle objections and everything. The biggest, I guess, breakthrough that you'll need to have is, let me actually show you this. I made this my computer desktop background because this has been something that I've been playing around with that I genuinely think is true in most situations in life. So have you seen this meme before?
Yeah, but not with these graphs.
Okay, so it's an IQ bell curve, right? It's like the really smart guy, the really dumb guy have the same percentile amount. And the theory is that these guys do the exact same action and everyone in between does something else. So with most problems in business and life, I'll give you an example. You want to get in shape. What does the retard do? Well, he goes to the gym and he eats healthy. What does the super smart guy do? He just goes to the gym and he eats healthy. Everyone in between starts counting the calories, trying to sign up to accountability groups, trying to get workout routine, trying to do isometrics, trying to do keto diet, whatever it is. But the retard and the super smart guy remain the same in their solutions. It's the exact same in sales. How would someone who's not that smart sell something? Well, they'd find one problem and they'd give them one solution. That's how the really smart guy would. And everyone in between, oh, well, how do I fix my offer? How do I position my slide deck? One problem, one solution.
What if what they're currently doing, because usually door knocking isn't a problem for them. They just want to add more avenues of like traffic.
Yeah. So it's a different sell. When I came across people that were doing well, it was always along the lines of, okay, well, I assume you probably don't want to get to like 500K a month in revenue to survive, right? And well, then I guess what is the reason you want to get there? Okay, well, I just want to go out to the middle getter. Okay, cool. I'm the same way. So, I mean, knowing your personality, right? Like, obviously, we're not here to not lose. We're here to win. So, in order to do that, and then you just go and pitch. Just adapt it to their personality.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would always try and mentally refer back to this because I'm actually going to make a video on this, but I would like to believe that I'm somewhere between this part and this part. I don't think I'm a crazy genius, but I also don't think I know my lefts from my rights. So being in the middle is fine because all you have to do is be conscious enough to figure out what this guy would do because it's also what this guy would do in a lot of situations. So when you have a problem and when you have an objection, think about the dumbest or simplest way to go about solving it. Okay. And following through on that is going to honestly make your sales easier.
Okay.
Because you got a whole bunch of stuff in your head. You got like 17 problems your product solves. You know every single client, everything that they have going on, et cetera, but you only need to give them one thing. And the process that you're gonna have to go through in order to achieve this. So this is a tangible action step that you can take right now and will, if you can do it, honestly get you selling regardless of any of the nuances, which is a sales indoctrination camp. So have you heard the saying, if you stay around in a barber shop long enough, you're gonna get your hair cut?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same as like you are the product of 5 people you surround yourself with. I just think that one's funny.
Yeah.
It is the exact same with sales. And what I mean by that is you don't need to surround yourself with people that are like good at sales, whatever it is, but you need to consume content in order to, I guess, develop your sales ability. Because when you're speaking on a sales call, you're not consciously thinking of what to say, right? Like your words are subconscious when you speak. You're not formulating a sentence each word at a time.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I read the sales theory, and this honestly changed my mind. It was in it changed my life, honestly. It was in a book. I'm trying to see if I can find it. This book, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It's like Tony Robbins knows about it, but it's like how to reprogram your brain to do certain things. What it talks about in that book is like, when you're talking, it's completely subconscious. And when you're consuming information, it's also completely subconscious. So there's this theory, and it worked for me, that if you consume enough sales content, regardless of whether you take notes on all of it or you're just watching all of it, you're going to subconsciously start learning what to say in sales situations, right? So for context, I used to watch Jeremy Miner all day. I replaced music for sales podcasts. I replaced like focus music for sales podcasts. In between calls, I'm listening to sales podcasts. And I would usually listen to sales stuff for about 4 hours every day in between everything that I was doing. And as a result of me kind of going through and doing that, I've learned so many things about sales that I don't even know I know, if that makes sense. And if you can literally craft your environment to be just sales and so much about sales, I promise you're going to start taking the action steps in order to close.
Of course. Yeah. I get that. I had something similar, right, where I was actually watching a lot of, especially on YouTube sales.
Yeah.
But I think that messed up my head even more because I started thinking of all of these techniques and should I do spin or should I do net Q? Should I do this? And like in my mind, it actually like took over instead of actually helping
So
me.
you have to watch one person,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to subscribe to one doctrine. Here is the one that will probably be best in solar. I'm sending you the playlist right now. It's called the Closers Are Losers podcast.
Okay.
By Jeremy Miner and his business partner, Matt Ryder. This is what I listen to, by the way. So this is the exact one that I listen to. There are like more episodes than you're going to be able to get through.
Nice.
There's 353 videos of just like pure sales knowledge. And it's all in regards to advanced NetQ. So not like how to ask question or situation awareness questions. This stuff is for like high performing life insurance sales reps and like B2B killers.
Okay.
And it's less popular for that reason, but it is, yeah, like it will get you right for the sales.
Sick.
And I would listen to this all day, every single day. And if there was an episode that I liked, I would just play it on repeat a few times. Kid you not, if you do that for 2 weeks, you're going to start closing.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait to get on these calls. That's the thing. Cause like just changing the framework like before Christmas, I got 2 closes, right? Like,
yeah.
I know we'll do some damage here. I'm super excited.
100%. Right. And it's like, in my mind, you're so close, right? Like you're just so close to achieving it. And literally the only thing that you need to do from this point is just continue booking calls and then indoctrinate yourself with sales. And as soon as you start getting closes, that is when you're going to have the confidence to hire a sales rep.
Got it.
Right. because there's a certain level of confidence that you're going to get when you have closed, like maybe you even have it now, but going through your next few deals as well, when you have that buckle on your belt that you can now say to a rep, like, hey, I closed this person using this, now you can use it, da da da. That is going to be honestly the fundamental growth that you need in order to go through and sell these people consistently.
Okay.
So, tangible action steps. First things first is start like devouring that podcast.
Will do.
That is going to just open your mind to so many fundamental ideas of sales and how to treat these specific nuanced situations that you're going to learn all of them eventually. And then you're just going to know what to say in each situation. Right? That is the first step. Along with that, it is like, well, I'll tell you my experience and you can let me know if you're the same. It took me probably a year of running an agency to sit down and actually watch my first sales call that I ever did. Like sales calls that I was actually doing. And even as I watched them, I didn't really watch them. Are you similar to me in that sense? So you fully watched them out?
Yeah. Since like day one, since my content agency, I've like watched almost every single one.
Okay. Because that is, like one of the best habits you can have. When you finish a sales call, I would always watch it the day after. I wouldn't watch it on the day of.
Okay.
The day after, like sit down and literally watch it on 1x speed. And it's the most painful thing you can ever do. But if you pay attention on 1x speed and you take notes, the direct pain that you feel and awkwardness that you feel and the boredom that you feel, knowing exactly what you're going to say, is in direct correlation to the value that you are going to gain because you're not going to repeat it next time. Because there's so much pain associated with having to fucking cringe back watching yourself say it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is another habit that is super, super important. And the final habit is send all sales calls that you take to me and then also begin role playing. So do you do any role play right now?
I had one with one of the RSC guys yesterday.
Was it Andres?
No, Mason.
Mason. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I would keep doing those.
Yeah.
And then the fundamental rule that I have one last tip. So keep setting up those role plays. What I would do is I would find someone that's also in a similar situation to you and set up a recurring time every day to do the role plays. But here's one of the honestly biggest secrets that you can do, like instantly boost your sales performance. So sales is like a sport. You probably heard people say that sales is like a sport. You never heard that one?
No.
Okay, well, you're going to hear it as you go through some of these podcasts and sales stuff.
Okay.
A lot of people treat sales like a sport, but no one warms up, right? It's like the mindset that you have hopping on a call usually is just like, oh, let me just pop in the Zoom meeting, good to go.
Yeah.
I kid you not, the situation that we went with broker deals. To be completely transparent, we had 3 people who had never closed a 4,500 deal in their life before as our closers. And we knew that they were not good at sales right now, and they were not going to be good at sales for a while. One of these guys is Omar. He's in the inner circle. He's now an advisor to sales. But what we would do for Omar and the rest of our sales team is before they start taking calls for the day, we would actually sit there for 45 minutes to an hour and warm up, making sure to review each of the things that we need to do on calls. Because I don't know if you're doing like back sales calls. A lot of the time, your second call is better than your first one, right? In the actual performance that you have. And if you treat sales like a sport, you also have to realize that each of the things that you say are skilled and you have to warm up in order to execute them properly. So if you're loading up a sales call and you haven't gone through your demo deck today, you're going to perform extremely bad compared to if you had just reviewed it like 10 times before the call. So one of the things you can do to instantly improve your performance on a call is just take like 10 minutes before it to physically sound out things you're going to say, things you're going to run through, process overview, knowing who they are, what they do, et cetera, et cetera. And that warm up will pay dividends on the back end.
Okay. All right.
Cool. So really, here's what we need to do. You can fix the appointment setting problem super easily with setting up a different go level sub account, right? So at least it doesn't become a huge issue. It just becomes added working time, but not necessarily lost working time or lost opportunity cost time. We can indoctrinate ourselves with sales and close the losers podcast. most importantly, I need you to send me like every sales call you hop on.
Okay.
Because we're at a phase right now where there's only one way that you can pretty much mess up. And I'm telling you this because I want you to avoid it. The only way that you can lose in your situation right now is if you get demotivated. You have
If I what?
appointments coming in if you get demotivated.
Oh,
You have
demotivated.
you have appointments coming in the door from two potential avenues right now. We have fundamental offers built out. We have service delivery built out. The only thing that can stop us is getting demotivated from sales. And I say that because I've met people where this happened, but I kid you not, this seems like an extremely high barrier to break down. But as soon as you break it down once, it's gone forever. And you just have to have blind faith that if you keep hopping on calls, you're going to solve this problem. And my job is going to be to reinstate that faith in you and make sure that we continue being motivated, continue going after it hard. But I kid you not, that is the only thing that I tangibly see that is in the way of you achieving success right now. It is just your brain and between your two ears that can stop you at this point.
Okay.
Really, the biggest thing right now is sales. And again, the only enemy you have is in your own head at this point. You've won the hardest part of the battle in a practical working sense. You've done the work to get the appointments going. You have automation sequences. Now you just have to hop on calls and make sure your mind isn't checked.
Okay.
One of the best things you can do in order to do that is make sure you go to the gym. You'll drive yourself batshit crazy if you don't. And that is honestly my only tidbit for that. Outside of that, it's all the rest in my head.
Right behind me, bro. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Appreciate it. Well, that's all I've got for today. I appreciate you taking the time. Keep me updated with sending the calls, and we're going to be in a very good position come, I would say, end of next week. I think we're going to have our next few pips coming in, and we're going to be just taking our way to the bank, seeing what our projections are going to look like for the month of January.